Hey guys, it's Robert Earl out here at the Eco Ranch in far west Texas with Cascade the Wonder Dog, who's sitting out of sight, and Myrtle the Dead Chicken. Got something I wanted to share with you today. I wasn't going to do this, and I got to thinking this morning about, you know what? I don't think many people know this, so let me tell you what this is. You ever gone into the grocery store and seen those chicken quarters? Now sometimes they're in a big bag. They're always in a big bag. They're in a 10-pound bag. Chicken quarters, 89 cents a pound or $8.90 or 59 cents a pound or whatever. They're on sale. And you say, wow, that's a good deal. And you buy the things, and so do the people at St. Agatha's Catholic Church and the Kiwanis Club. They buy those things too, and they go, oh boy, and they grill it all up, grill it outside. They get some grill master, grills it up, make a big plate of chicken, $6, $8, and you get 4 ounces, literally 4 ounces of chicken meat off of one of these legs. At the Kiwanis Club, well, okay, that's different. That's a donation, and you know, hey, I love that, and I buy them myself. But I know I'm getting a tablespoon of meat. But when you buy them, you take them home and you say, oh boy, I got these for 59 cents a pound. You got a 10-pound bag. It feeds a family of 3. If you're not hungry. You go, wait a minute, what happened here? I have a way to make this work, and that's what I want to show you today. Now, I got some, and I'm going to go back before the sale goes off next Monday, but at our local grocery store, they usually have really good deals on chickens, and they had these bags, 10-pound bags of chicken quarters at 29 cents a pound or $2.90 or let's see, I bought 5 bags, so let's just call it $3 a pound, $15, actually $14.50 for 50 pounds of chicken. Oh, except you only got that little bit of meat on there. So let me show you what I discovered to do, and I've done this for quite a while, I just never put it on video. Let me show you what I discovered and what I learned how to do to show you what you can get the very most out of this, out of those packages of meat. Now, for those of you that took home economics, male and female, if you took home economics and your home ec teacher wasn't my age or older, and by the way, speaking of my age or older, I'll come back to that, May 3rd, very soon coming up, is my birthday, my 64th birthday. I never thought I'd make this. It's my 64th birthday. And just in case some of you folks were thinking, what can we give Robert? He's such a nice guy doing all these videos. Send Portland. I can always use Portland. Put it in an envelope, send it to me. I shouldn't have said that. I'm going to get somebody who's going to send me a little envelope with Portland in it. You're going to have the postal inspectors and the drug DEA after you. But McCoy's in Alpine, Texas will take a credit card over the phone for 20 bags of Portland. Send me Portland. That's a great 64th birthday gift. Back to your home ec teacher. If she wasn't my age or older when you were in home ec, and in fact, in 1970, my home ec teacher did not tell me this, because I took it just for the heck of it. Even in 1970, some of the old techniques that we used here in America were going by the wayside. So let me show you. I've got one of these little squanchy quarters here. Now, I actually measured it. I cut all the meat off of it and weighed it. I have my scale here. And I actually had 4.5 ounces of meat that came off of one of these. That's meat. I took the skin off, which has some weight to it. 4.5 ounces of meat. The rest was bone. Now, that's the case with these things. They're young chickens, so the young chickens, their bones grow really, really fast, and the meat has to catch up. Well, of course, it's not very cost-effective for a commercial operation to raise those chickens up to where the meat catches up to the bone, so hence you get all this big bone. But what you're not seeing is these are what's left over from those gigantic breasts that they make all the other stuff out of. So what to do? Here's the most effective way. First of all, and this is really simple, guys, young chickens, the skin peels off them very, very easily. A lot of people don't eat skin. Debbie doesn't particularly like it. She just told me that she doesn't like it because I put all the hot seasonings on it. Now, I've got a stock pot here next to me. You can see it. This is one of my jumbo stock pots. Skin goes in there. Now you want to strip the meat off of it. Watch my hands while I talk, because I don't need to give you a step-by-step. Just watch my hands. However, I've talked about knives in a couple other videos. You make sure your knife is really, really sharp. More chefs are cut by dull knives than by sharp knives. Make sure your knives are really, really sharp. When you touch bone, don't cut bone with your knife. That's what dulls it. Pass the bone by. Go up, down, whatever. So what you're going to do is you're going to strip the meat off and get your own techniques. There I'm hitting the bone, so see I'm going to go right. There we go. Get your own technique, strip that meat off. The first cut is always the starter cut. Now see, I got that little, I'm glad that happened to me, even though I hadn't planned on it. I got that little tiny bone that all chicken legs and turkey legs have, only it's not so tiny in a turkey leg. I got that little tiny bone. Now that bone you don't want. I got a little piece of meat with it too. Goes right in the stock pot. That's your meat right there. You get a little tiny bit of cartilage, which I just had there. Little tiny bit of cartilage won't hurt you any. You just keep cutting it and keep cutting it. However you develop, and you have to, I can give you a step-by-step, but every chef and every person is different. Some people's hands are different than mine. You're right-handed, or left-handed rather, where I'm right-handed. So you just have to get your own way. The thing is, you're grabbing that meat away from the bone, and you're just filleting as much of that meat away as you can. Now, when you've got 50 pounds to do like I do, you tend to want to get a little lazy and you'll leave, a quarter ounce or a half an ounce of meat on. And that doesn't seem like much, but I'm going through and taking all the extra meat off of this one. Doesn't seem like much, but you do 20 of those and you've just lost a whole portion of meat for somebody. Now, ground beef, I happened to buy ground beef yesterday at the same time, and I paid $2.22, actually $2.23 a pound for it, and I got a big jumbo thing. Got like 10 meals, not even 10, well yeah, 10 pounds, 10 meals off of it, and I paid $23. Conversely, at 29 cents a pound, I'm going to get a lot, I'm going to do a lot better here. Now, what I've done is you saw me take most of the meat off. Now, you can go back in and you can get some of this little tiny stuff too. Doesn't amount to much in terms of weight, but that is about what you would eat at the Kiwanis Club, and the rest you'd throw away unless you're one of those, and I've seen them too, one of bone suckers that's going. I've seen people like that. I don't do that. Sometimes I do, but you got most of the meat off of it. Over here, in the stock pot it goes. Now, okay, hey, I am done. Surprisingly, didn't take much. I had 30 pounds left to do this morning. I started, oh gosh, I don't know when I started, but it's not even 9 o'clock yet. Got all the meat done. Now I've got 2 pots here. These pots have, and it's amazing, they get these chickens exact because they're Frankenbergs and they grow at a certain speed and the feed is regulated. But these are exact 9.7 pounds of meat, pure meat. 9.7 pounds of pure meat per 20 pounds of, the 20-pound bag of chicken that you bought. Now that 20-pound bag, don't let them fool you just like they always do. That 20-pound bag, if you read somewhere on it, it says, not only does it say backbone attached, but it says broth added. Okay, you're paying 29 cents a pound, 59 cents a pound, whatever, for broth, water. So you gotta watch that. But anyway, I have, out of 50 pounds, which 10 pounds I did package up and make so that I could make something with those quarters. I like to take those quarters and make Greek chicken out of them because it's kind of a light meal. There's not much meat in there and the bone adds really good flavor. That's about all I do with these quarters. So with 40 pounds, I have just under 20 pounds of meat here, and I had, of course, 20 pounds of bone, and then the rest is the broth added. So I'm going to grind up most of this, package some of it up as stroganoff meat, grind up most of it, and then I have ground chicken meat. Now, already there's people out there saying, "Ow, but it's not organic. I only eat organic." Yeah. And you'd love to eat organic. You'd love to be a vegan. You would love all that stuff. When your parents are buying the food and paying your food bill, or helping you out by paying your mortgage or your rent or your car payment or your tuition, you can afford to be a vegan. You can afford all organic stuff. Which, by the way, 150 years ago, everybody ate all organic and the average life expectancy was 47. I turned 64 in a couple of weeks, so you know, kind of do the math on how great organic is. I know it has benefits. Here's the thing. When it's your dime and you're paying for it, right away you look, rent, organic chicken, rent, organic chicken, rent, organic chicken. Pass me the great value, please. So, when you can afford to, it's fine, but all these fancy fads, all this organic, all natural, which we do eat all natural when we can, but at 29 cents a pound, I'm not passing it up. But when you have special stuff, you buy all these supplements, buy a goat's worth root that's ground up and sent from Ceylon, right? Which there's no Ceylon anymore, but anyway, sent to you from somewhere exotic at $18 a pound. Right away, when you're making that choice between rent or organic something or other, or some sort of supplement, right away rent wins, and where are you going? Right back to great value. So you might as well learn about great value from the very beginning, or at least how to create a great value from whatever you've got. Because this technique here doesn't just work on 29 cent a pound chicken. If you have a $13 organic chicken, you can cut off what you want, strip off the little tiny bits of meat with that boning knife, put it in for stroganoff meat. I like chicken stroganoff, obviously. I like beef stroganoff too. For stroganoff meat, and use that carcass to make your soup. Same principle. Same techniques with the knife. Oh, but Robert, I'm far too busy. I can't do that. My life is too busy. Then you've screwed up your life. Cooking. Cooking is one of our more primal, civilized things that we do. In other words, something we acquired and we learned, one of the very first things was how to cook. When you get away from cooking because, oh, I've got to go to the gym. Oh, I've got to go to my Facebook conference. Oh, I've got to do. You're missing out on living. Slow down, back up, start living. Do the cooking. So, here we are. I have this and one more that's this full of pure chicken meat. Now I'm going to go through and pull out some of the choicer bits, and the rest is going to get ground up. The choicer bits will be stroganoff. I have this pot, which is my gigantic stock pot, ready to put on and cook. And I have this one, which is already cooked. This is my 100-year-old soup pot, so we're going to strain out like 85% of the soup and leave that little bit in there so it continues to be 100-year-old soup. You'll notice floating on the top is the chicken skin. We're going to pull all of that off, drain it, let the fat settle on top, and take about 80% of the fat off and give it to the dogs. Another good thing, and I'll tell you more about the dogs in a second. Take about 80% off of the fat, give it to the dogs. The rest of the fat, remember, fat is flavor, and if you're worried about fat, you ain't active enough. And dogs get that, so the dogs are getting some value from this, but also, I'll take, when I strain these bones out, I'll actually take and go in there, and I'll get in there with my hands, and I'll pull the little bits of meat and cartilage and that off of these bones, and give that to the dogs in their dog food. The rest of the chicken, which is already cooked bones, I actually give that to our existing chickens. Let them run around with the bones for a while. They eventually peck them open and eat them. And as long as you're cooking the meat, it's okay to give the chickens chicken. Now, you run the risk of disease, cannibalism, blah, 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 if you give it to them raw. But what I'm getting at is, so at 29 cents a pound for my $14.50, I have ground meat, I have stroganoff meat, I have soup, I have dog food, I have chicken food. I've utilized everything but the broth, actually. So I hope you've learned something from this. I hope you go out there and start to do some of these things. And honest to God, any of you that are looking and saying, well, I'm far too busy, I can't do this. Don't say that. You're too busy. You're doing too much stupid crap. When I was a little boy, some of my fondest memories are me sitting there in our house in Grosse Pointe Farms, Michigan. So I was, you know, from an infant on up, watching my mother cook. But one of the memories that really sticks in my brain was when I was, somewhere around 10 or 11 years old, was helping my sister in her house. Marianne had just gotten married, and she was all baking and baking and baking. And I remember helping her make cinnamon rolls. Or I think it was, I forget what she called it. Somebody's going to holler in the screen at me on it. But anyway, they roll out cinnamon and roll it up and cook it. Coffee cake kind of thing. I remember doing that with Marianne and also making spaghetti. Now, spaghetti is kind of a no-brainer, but the thing is, I remember being in the kitchen. Those are some of my fond memories now, literally with my mother over 60 years later. Make memories for your family that way. And until next time, I hope you got something from it. It's Robert Earl, Cascade the Wonder Dog, and everybody else out here at the Eco Ranch. Oops, you need to see my head, don't you? Saying see you later.